Greetings, my name is Sumitiper and welcome to ACERVO Season 4, Episode 3, Mirror the Greats. In our day-to-day, we often see judgment based on meaningless differences. Someone will be criticized more often in an academic setting because they do not have the appearance of intelligence, or someone will be more likely to be held in higher regard if they are blonde. I have always questioned that, and to some extent, I'm not alone. Activists fight for equality, and good on them. The world would be worse if everyone were selfish. Though few people criticize the hierarchy of this world as I do, why should I place more of my attention in a foreign monarch than what I place on my fellow countrymen? Why should I try to achieve fame just like that celebrity? People recognized only by their name. That is a group of people I despise. Why place themselves all over the newspapers and billboards? Why blindly follow their instructions and consume products they endorse whether or not they even use said product to begin with? I can count on my closest friends to be truthful and helpful, but cannot count on the leader of my country to be clean and honest about all of his businesses. I know that there is no appeasing everyone, but hiding shady projects and refusing to be honest just hurts the reputation of the individual. From my youth, my mother often said to be like the greatest people, and I aspired to do that, at least to some extent, just like everybody else. I had posters of movies and albums all over my house. My father was a lover of film and music. He idolized individuals that he knew very little about, despite claiming to know them like the palm of his hand. And he wanted me to idolize them as well. I had met some of these people occasionally at concerts and movie premieres that my father brought me to. They all played nice and, to my innocent eyes, seemed like genuinely nice people. It wasn't until I knew them closer that I could understand better. Early in school, I didn't have many friends. I knew one or two people personally, but not to the point of friendship. That was until I met Nate. Nate was an energetic and outgoing child, contrasting a lot with my shy and introverted manner. We bonded over cartoons we liked and over toys we made scenarios for. We both often went to each other's house. He enjoyed the music my father played and the great cooking of my mother. What made me realize the different places in the hierarchy of society were the differences in our houses. While mine was nowhere near small, it was not big. 4 rooms, 2 bathrooms, a kitchenette, and a shared dining and living room. Nate's house, however, was gigantic. The mansion my friend resided in shook me the first time I saw. So many rooms and so many things. Nate told me that his father bought them. His father was a well-known news anchor and his mother had been a model when younger, now working as an agent. Nate's father intrigued me. He was so rich, and while we weren't poor, my family worked harder than Nate's ever had. My mother worked hard with people who were always so angry, always so bitter. It wasn't uncommon to hear her cry after talking about work. My father worked in both manual and mental labor, calculating and working, always angry at himself when what he did went wrong. Nate's family was not like that, even when I wasn't there. I told Nate about the frustrations of my parents, and he told me that his had none. It may have been childish innocence or ignorance to suffering, but I often wrestle with the fact that he might have been telling the truth. As I grew, Nate grew as well. We weren't as close, but still considered ourselves close friends. I decided to become a journalist. I felt that covering the things no one knew about would be the most interesting. Nate told that to his father, and he offered me a tour of where he worked, as well as giving an overview of his day. He told me about the works that they and the journalists did. They and the journalists? I asked why the difference, and he told me something that shattered my worldview. He was a presenter. What he presented was not personally written by him, and he hadn't worked as an on-ground journalist or reporter in a long time. As I stood there, trying to mask the fact that my whole worldview had been wrong to this point, he gave me a piece of advice that single-handedly killed my aspirations to work as a journalist. He told me to go after the most attention-grabbing thing that I could cover. I left there with the gears in my head turning in a way that allowed me to see the whole world for what it really is. Fakery of the greats. A lot of things that made no sense began to fit together. A girl in my school injured herself quite badly performing a stunt she saw online. A boy began spewing misogyny he heard from his favorite podcaster. People would buy things, stupid things, just because a famous person appeared in the advertisements. So many people desperately tried to be rich and did everything for it, including buying books written by spoiled, ignorant 20-year-olds who made none of their wealth themselves and got it all from other people, who, in turn, exploited people to get that wealth. There is nothing honorable and great about these people the others call the greats. If they are so great, why don't they all actively help the world become a better place? It goes against what it means to become famous? What? How? The whole structure of idealizing these people is disgusting. Why do the people who give women eating disorders and the people who feed discrimination to men even get to be popular? There are so many lies and so many things that are fundamentally wrong. I left journalism because I noticed that nothing I could do would ever change the world. The people who can change the world seem content with the state it is in, and for as long as they want, it will remain like that. I can't do anything about them, as much as a single drop of water cannot bring down the Great Pyramids. I hope you enjoyed this video. This has been Sumitiper, and thank you so much for watching.